Yes. No worries. Thank you.
Damn.
Nice.
I've definitely had that experience where I pull up to someone's house and I'm waiting outside the house, and then when they come from a different location, I have this inkling of, I wonder what they were thinking of just sitting in front of their house, you know? Why is that stranger in front of our house? Oh, shucks.
When I put our house number, it
Yes.
takes you to the avenue
Yeah.
spot,
Okay.
and then it is a problem. Yeah.
Wow.
It's
I
only
know.
on Uber too. It's weird.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's weird.
Even though you put your specific house number.
Yes.
Crazy, eh? Okay. Well, I'm glad you found me.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And I hope you didn't feel rushed. I didn't mean to
Oh,
rush
no.
you coming
No,
early.
no, I'm good,
Okay.
I'm good.
Awesome. My name is Binyam. I'm guessing one of you is not Nicole.
Yeah, it's better.
Hi, Spencer and Nicole. It's nice to meet you
Nice
both.
to meet you.
Before we get too far in, let me tell you just something a little unusual in my Uber that I do.
Yeah.
I like to serenade my riders with opera. And I'm kidding, yes. However, I do a live stream in the Uber, so just careful what you say. I don't want you to share anything that's, like pertinent to your SIN number. People have an inkling to give me their SIN number and their bank account numbers and that kind of thing, so please refrain.
Oh, okay. Cool.
As
What do you
hard
live
as it
stream
is.
on?
On YouTube.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
really?
Yeah. I have some tremendously amazing connections with the riders that get to me along the way, and I've made videos for years in my experience with Uber, and I was just inspired so many people as far as just what amazing conversations could look like along the way. And so one of those ways I want to contribute in some meaningful way online, saying, hey, how can we have more of these in the world? And I love modeling what that looks like.
Oh, that's cool.
Thank you. Oh, I should ask, domestic, international?
International.
International with which airline?
WestJet.
WestJet. Awesome. Good. You guys make a good team.
Yeah.
I'll cover this space, you cover this space, we'll make it there on time.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You're heading out on a Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm hoping not for business, but I imagine it's not because you're both going together.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So for pleasure.
Yeah.
The summer warm?
Yes. Mexico.
Ooh. Give me a moment and I'll try to feel happy for you. Just it'll take a moment here. I tease.
So where's the name Binyam from?
Oh, great question. If you ever meet a Binyam, you can be confident in your guess. They're either from Eritrea or where I'm from, Ethiopia,
Oh,
which
okay.
are right beside each other.
Cool.
Yeah. Binyam. Okay, so Binyam comes from the original in the Hebrew language, which is part of the same family of languages. Binyamin. And Binyamin is how we get our English Benjamin.
Oh, okay.
Binyamin, Benjamin.
Right.
Nice.
That makes
So, for
sense.
example, when in the Hebrew culture, when you put bin in front of a name, like if I were to say Bin Spencer, that would mean the son of Spencer.
Okay.
And so the Yamin part, the second portion, Binyamin, Yamin in Hebrew means the right arm or the right direction. And so literally Benjamin translates to son of my right hand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Look at
So
that.
I may have done a PhD on my name. And I tease, I did not do any such thing, but
I'm sure you get asked about it a lot, though.
on occasion, yeah. Binyam. So yeah, in my language, we just shorten it to Binyam instead of Binyamin.
Great.
But I know someone has had some training, or perhaps they are Jewish, when they're like, oh, I know your name, Binyamin.
Right.
I'm like, you know more. Yes. Yeah. How long have you guys been looking forward to this trip?
Not that long. Probably
Okay.
like 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe.
Oh, was it like a spontaneous decision?
Kind of. I had to
Kind.
use up a lot of time for work, so.
Like a lot of your holiday time, you mean?
Yeah. So I'm
Gotcha.
basically off until the end of the year now.
Okay.
And we're just going for 10 days or something.
Cool.
Just escape a little bit.
Yeah.
Alright.
And it's not your first time there. Or it
So
is.
it's my first time.
Yeah.
Your first
I
time.
was there for biz.
Okay.
Like, literally, what, 3 weeks ago?
Oh,
Yeah.
no
4 weeks ago?
way.
Yeah.
And while there for business, was it like primarily business, or did you get like a few excursions in the mid-business to like have a
Yeah, like a half day.
So enough to tantalize you, saying that was more painful than helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually when I plan for business, I forget to have fun. So that happened a little bit.
Quick question: should I go straight or turn left?
Either one.
Either one.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. I just want to make sure. Map is suggesting going straight, but I saw everyone turning left. I'm like, oh, I'll just check from the locals.
It's probably early enough that straight is fine. So
Cool.
the only issue with this way is it leads you out on a highway and you have to turn left.
Oh, I see.
So
yeah.
if
I'll
it's
navigate.
early enough in the morning, then it really doesn't matter.
It
Cool.
will be busy.
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
So you're saying you struggle with balancing work and play?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Yes.
She says, of course.
Nicole more than most people.
And then, do you travel often for work, Nicole?
I will start to.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah.
And is the travel part fun still, or is it getting a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good point. Good point. So far, so good.
Yes.
But it might get a little bit difficult. But we'll see. We'll
Okay.
see. I'm having fun for now.
It's a fairly early experience for you then.
Yes.
That's cool. Because I found like when we were younger, once upon a time, travel for work seemed so romantic as an idea. You know, it's like, oh, I get to go and do all the things, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I've had enough time now listening to many businessmen who travel for work. For example, maybe a couple of years ago, I picked up this one guy. He comes into Calgary every Monday and leaves every Friday. And where he lives, Florida.
Oh yeah.
So he's got a 2-year contract here
Yeah.
that he commutes to by air, like every week for 2 weeks, kind of thing. And I was just like, wow, that's like a big commitment, right?
Yeah.
And so I've heard from a lot of them, like it's so much fun at the beginning, but then in time it kind of gets old, and like, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm leaving the place that I love, right, with the people that I love, and so on. So
Exactly. So far it's all fun and games, but we'll see
yeah,
later.
yeah, how things transition.
Yes.
Gotcha. That's fair.
Yeah.
But the work you do, you love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, for sure. I have the freedom to be creative. I have the
Oh,
freedom to
that is amazing. I like
don't
that.
know, think about different ways of measuring
Yeah.
my behavior. So it's pretty good.
Oh, so you're looking at human behavior too.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I'm not salivating over here, but can you tell me more? Okay, in what role? What can
Measure human behavior in e-commerce.
e-commerce? How intriguing! And like, oh my goodness. Okay.
Sorry?
Oh my goodness! I said that is
Yes.
intriguing. And then you get to travel to do this as well too.
Yeah. The company I work for, we have a few clients. We have a lot of clients around the world.
Okay.
I'm mainly responsible for the ones in Latin America.
Yeah.
And this is why I was in Mexico.
I see.
Yeah.
Did you have you always been in North America, or did you have some time once upon a time in Mexico or in Latin America?
I imagine
Yeah.
picking up an accent.
Oh, slightly.
Slightly?
Yes. You know,
Now
I
I
was
am
overlooking it up till now. I mean, I could discern it, but I was enjoying it. But I
Okay.
didn't go any further. Okay, so now you're asking me to go a little further
Yes.
in guessing what your accent is.
Exactly. Yes. I love this question because everyone gets it wrong.
Oh.
But I love the variety of it.
I love the way you set me up. I'll follow up with one of my own. Okay, so let me see. There is a thickness to it.
Okay.
I'm thinking. And I haven't seen you facially.
I know. It's kind of nighttime.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
okay.
difficult.
I don't know
okay.
if it would help you though.
No.
Yeah, this guy right here got it wrong like 5 times.
Yeah.
His first try, yes.
What a start to the connection.
Yeah.
And she didn't take it personally, which is wonderful. So I'm going to say, okay, my first taco to guess would be Lithuanian.
Wow, I've never gotten this one.
Okay.
No,
No.
not
Okay.
Lithuanian.
All right. I guess 3 guesses, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. You get 3 guesses. Take your time.
I will. Oh, do you know what would be fun? Let me pause my 2 guesses till later in the ride.
Okay.
It'll give me a chance to think more while I'm listening to you.
100%.
Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you can hear me speak a little bit more
Okay.
and get some accent text from there.
And it wouldn't be fair for me to ask if you can guess my accent because I already told you where I'm from.
Oh,
I
yeah.
definitely couldn't. Though. I don't think you have an accent.
No, I
Same.
don't. I don't
Very
know.
difficult.
But that's fun when I ask people, so what's my accent? Because when I ask them and I don't have one, they're like, oh. When I moved to Canada, I was 8, so I was very young
Yeah.
when I moved here. And I've noticed those who move here pre-teens,
Yeah.
usually their accents that disapparates, right?
Yeah.
Whereas those in their teens and onwards, there are traces for sure.
Yeah.
This will be fun. Yeah, so 2 more guesses. Lithuanian. Was I way off with Lithuanian?
Yes,
Pretty
you were
far.
on the wrong continent.
Key insight. Now, I should have asked for 5 guesses so I could work through all the continents.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, just give me a few moments. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you? I'm guessing you fell into this role in this job because it's rare to find someone who says from a very early outset, my specific aim is to become a sociologist in the e-commerce
Oh,
sector.
yes, in a past life I was a neuroscientist.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. A neuroscientist. That's a scientist specifically who focuses on the brain
Yes.
and the activities in the brain. It's so amazing that we figured out everything there is to understand about the brain, isn't it?
Sorry?
It's amazing that we figured out everything there is to know about the brain, isn't it?
Oh, it is very incredibly difficult. We know very little.
I know. I was being facetious when I said that. There's nothing to discover about the brain. Do you think there ever will be a point when we exhaustively and comprehensively understand the activities that go on in the brain?
Oh God. Honestly, I hope so, but I don't think anytime soon. No.
And if so, how much do you think it'll tell us about ourselves?
Oh, so much.
Really?
So much. Everyone's so different.
Yeah.
Every experience is recorded in like a very specific chemical and physical manner.
Sure.
That is just, it would be incredible.
But I mean, like with that skill set in studying the brain, is it possible to like learn about a person's, the emotional side and the reason why they chose a certain choice over another choice? Like, would it help understand those components of a person?
Hopefully so.
Okay. Fascinating. It is intriguing to even think about like how.
Oh, absolutely. And this is why I fell in the role. Yes.
And then you move into this current role because it gives you more access to observing that in a specific spectrum or different?
Yeah, many reasons.
Okay.
I love science and I always loved it from
Yeah.
a young age
Yeah.
anyways. But didn't really enjoy the work-life balance. Maybe it's my personality of
Really?
being obsessed with things that I love.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that I was doing, then the compensation wasn't really there.
Sufficient, yes.
So that's why I moved to the industry.
I see.
And, well, I published my article and all that. So the other point is also that when you publish your article, sometimes you don't see the effects in society like 20, 30 years from from the
Interesting.
publishing. So
Yeah.
I also wanted to see effects on society of what I do a little bit faster.
It's almost in a certain sense like researchers could also be going in a certain sense instead of seeing it very, right?
Yeah.
I wonder. I thought of that. I never thought of that.
I think a lot of people do exactly what you said.
Really?
They kind of go to the business side because there may be a way to monetize what they've learned.
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, they've invested so much energy in it already, and they feel so passionately about it.
Yeah.
It's just like, how do I continue to actively prod the work to go further, I guess.
Yeah, and especially because in academia, like people are saying, the compensation really isn't that good until you become like
A name brand.
Yeah, until you become a fairly big deal professor. Because, well, it sounds like 100,000 might be a lot when you're working like 80 hours a week consistently, like 7 days a week.
Yeah.
It's
The cost is
not
high.
that great if you break it down hourly.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Spencer, are you too a science lover like she is?
I was always good at science.
Yeah.
I wasn't a science lover like Nicole.
Okay.
I only have a bachelor's, so
Okay.
you know, I didn't go to the end of the road like she did. So.
Okay. Sciences was my second degree.
Really?
And before I went into it, Nicole, I knew that science and I had not made peace with each other yet.
What do you mean?
I'd always struggled with it. It was like I had good intentions when I approached it for what could be, and it didn't treat me fairly. Nonetheless, that's the bygones. Yes, I tried again with the degree, and I knew that we had a rocky relationship, and that rocky relationship through the course of those 4 years was confirmed. It was very resounding. This is not a relationship that's going to work. So I tried the best I could.
What were your degrees in?
First in business and accounting, then sciences.
Okay.
Preparing for med school. And that's the reason I was like, okay, we don't have a good relationship, but you and I need to make peace here so that we can move on to like this forecast of what could be.
Right.
And at the end of it, I think, well, maybe it was on my side, I thought I could just, just patch things up enough that I would learn everything I need to learn, and by the end of this whole strenuous engagement, at the residency, say, okay, now I can, wash my hands because I've done everything that's necessary. And in reality, I found out that doctors, probably like researchers, are so enthusiastic. They read journals for fun. I'm like, I still don't read journals for fun. They go to conferences to figure what's new and like make up new things. I'm like, no, I thought there was an endpoint and this is not gonna work.
I had a very similar experience.
Oh, did
my
you?
degree's in computer science, and my first job interview after I got out of school was, show me some of your fun hobby projects that you've created.
Okay.
I'm like, no, I don't do this for fun in my free time. I do this to make a living. And that answer, they found just a hole. It's like, sorry, I don't think I'm for you.
I do like to read articles in my free time.
I'm sure
Not
you
that I
do.
realize.
And I mean, here's the thing. It's beautiful to see that because in my current strain of like where my intellectual zone resides, I do enjoy indulging in the deep end, right? I do enjoy digging deep in the areas that I'm interested. So it makes sense if you love it, you would, right?
Yeah.
I just confirmed that we were like water and oil. I hope I didn't offend you in any way, darling. But
And
yes.
when were you to opera?
I was actually teasing. I'm not an opera.
He was just joking about
I was
that.
joking about
Because
that.
I was hoping that was true.
Oh my
Like, come on.
goodness. One of these days,
In a
I'm
car,
going to be
that
called
was so
out.
loud.
Wow, that was really good. Let's go.
That would be so good.
Yes. Because you do have a great voice, and like it completely like matched
Wow.
me. My brain was like, yeah, checks
Well,
out.
thank you. That's really sweet. I was just recounting with my previous writer how I once used to love to sing, and I've lost that ability over the last few years, I've noticed.
Alright.
Now, I'm a musician, and I still play really well, but like the singing part, whereas once upon a time I used to do it really well, now I'm very, very rusty. And so I wonder if what you're hearing in my voice, because I've heard I have a good speaking voice,
Yeah.
so maybe that's what you're hearing,
Yeah,
perhaps.
absolutely. Yeah.
And even then, I still feel like I'm very sloppy right now because I like to enunciate my words very clearly.
Yeah.
You do.
And the thing is, I don't feel like I'm doing it as well as I like because I have a new retainer in my mouth that my mouth is getting accustomed to. So I feel so, yeah.
Oh, I get it. I had 6 years of braces and all the things under the sun.
I see. Darn. So even then, I'm aware that I'm not quite at my capacity where I appreciate. So, but nonetheless, thank you. I hear the compliment. No, from sciences I went on to English and philosophy and the social arts. Oh my goodness, the social sciences I fell in love with. I'm like, this is where I should have been the whole time. And so, hence why I was salivating at what you get to do in the commerce space. You know? Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And what exactly did you study in sociology?
Oh, actually, not sociology. The social sciences. Sorry,
Social sciences.
English and philosophy. Yeah, those are the ones I centered on and locked in, and then I came out here to do some grad studies, and then then life went on. But in that realm, though, when I discovered the social sciences, I fell in love. I was like, let me do all the things. I'll do sociology, I'll do anthropology and history and all the things, especially linguistics. Oh my goodness, linguistics. If I were to go back and do another degree, which I'm not, I would definitely pursue that one.
And is it because you're good with languages, or you
No.
just find it interesting?
I'm not good with languages. I know there's people who love to study languages because it's fun. I don't find it fun.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hard work. For me,
That's
I. There are people who love it, right? So for me, it's very practical. English is language that I've learned to master as well as I can. I love using it creatively. I like dressing up my ideas with words in creative ways and presenting that to others for consideration. I've taught it. There's just so many ways I appreciate the English language, but I don't enjoy English because it's English. I just enjoy it because it's a medium in which I get to express feelings and thoughts and ideas. And that's a really sacred thing, I think, when we get to communicate and we have this means of communicating where I give you access by the sound vibrations I emit to give you an indication of where I'm at, and vice versa. I think that's really, really cool. So it's very practical. So I'd only be interested in learning another language if I were to go to a different setting in which I need to use the same currency of communication, right?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, let me learn this new language as well as I can, and in so doing, also learn the culture so I can appropriate it well. Because one of the things I love doing is, since I moved to this country, I had to just deconstruct this culture because I didn't understand it when I first moved in. And then I had to reconstruct it again in a way that made sense to me. And to that end, I almost feel, Spencer, like I understand this culture much better even than the locals do, because I've had to ask the whys behind the hows, you know?
Yep.
And so having this insight into what makes this culture the way it is, I really enjoy breaking rules. I like breaking the rules intentionally and making fun with it, you know, and that's what makes, I think, my existence in this setting really, it's not boring. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So,
Yes.
what languages do you speak then?
Just, English. Amharic is the language, the main language in Ethiopia. And that one I know, I can understand it and speak it brokenly. I've retained about 5 words of Swahili because I grew up in Kenya.
Yeah.
And French, a few phrases here and there, but that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Nothing to write home about. And then here I'm meeting immigrants who've been in refugee camps where they have to learn 6 or 7 languages at minimum, you know, just to be able to do what they do in those communities.
Yeah, me too. I'm terrible at learning languages. I'd
Yeah.
love to be better at it.
Okay.
But I am maybe the worst person I've ever known
Gotcha.
to try to speak anything other than English. So.
Can you pull off any accents though, Spencer?
What's up?
Can you pull off any accents?
No.
Because I also love accents. I love accents. I almost find them like flavors in English, right?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Tell me a little bit about you, Spencer. What do you love, and contrast it to what you actually do, and if there's any correlation or overlap there.
Not a whole lot. I'm an animal lover.
Okay.
And I work with computers, so there's
Okay.
very, very little overlap.
Crossover there.
If I were to go back to school, I would
Yeah.
probably do something in that world. But
Because I know there's been experiments to see if monkeys can type out messages on keyboards.
yeah.
That could be a really neat overlap with computers and that.
Yeah, there's a little bit, but I would argue that it's more in like the neuroscience area than in
so
the
true.
computer science area. Like, yes, there is somebody on the computer science side, but they're just being told like what to do, basically,
enough.
for the most part.
Yeah. And why computer sciences?
I was just always good with computers, so I figured
Gotcha.
it was just a natural
Shift into
jump.
it.
And I was originally going to school for geophysics.
Oh,
and,
okay.
That's kind of I wouldn't say it's a dying industry, but
Yeah.
it's moved more to software.
Gotcha.
And for every 8 or so employees that there is now 1. So I'm glad I
Slim
didn't
forecast.
pursue that
Yeah, no
because
kidding.
my cousin had like 20 years of experience in that field, and I had to leave the field entirely.
Oh golly, and start again somewhere else.
Yeah.
Given what you've seen over the time now since your studies, have you seen other things that have whetted your curiosity where you're like, ooh, if I would do it again, that's something I would like dive into?
Yeah, maybe botany or something like that. I like plants too.
Okay.
I like the natural world, I guess.
Yeah. So biology.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe biology. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see.
Cool.
There's still a chance that I'll kind of teach myself stuff online. I think there's so much access to education now that
Totally, right?
you can just do it from home. I don't even
Yeah.
think you really need to go to school anymore, to be honest.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Do you have a green thumb?
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. If it
Pretty good
wasn't
at
for
plants.
him,
Yes.
all of the house plants would die.
You tell me,
Because
Nicole,
I cannot keep them alive.
does he speak to his plants?
No,
He
maybe
does.
secretly.
Oh.
No.
Does he name them?
I named them.
Oh, you
actually.
named them. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. Is that out of like a sense of like guilt, saying I can't do much for you, but at least I'll.
Yeah, it's just to, I guess to pretend I care actually. No, I actually do. No, honestly, like it's awesome to have plants at home. And,
Yes.
once Spencer told me like, okay, get this. What was the CC plant that you told me to get?
Oh, to get in your
In my-
basement suite?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Spencer said this plant is impossible to be killed.
Oh, wow.
Impossible. And I clearly took that as a challenge.
Yeah.
And that plant definitely died.
Oh.
There it is.
Challenge accepted.
Yes, exactly.
So much for resilience, right?
You overloved it.
Overloved.
Yeah, you watered it too much. It's the only way to kill it.
The one time she's trying to be responsible.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sure does it.
overloved.
Oh, that's great. I would love to hear how you both met.
Tinder.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a
No one
pretty
ever meets
straightforward
there.
story.
I
Yeah.
know, like that's so rare. Like who meets online at all?
Yeah.
Just kidding. Everyone
Yeah.
does, right?
Well, long term.
Yes.
I don't know.
That's true.
I don't mean a lot of people.
Yes.
Especially on Tinder.
Yeah.
That end up staying together long term.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was good. Came close on Tinder for like 1 or 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Managed to time it just right. So.
Wow. Yeah, because that's the common experience for everyone else.
Yeah.
No.
Totally.
How long has it been for you both together now then?
Yeah,
7,
almost 8
Oh my
years.
God.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a brilliant story. And in your togetherness, now, don't give me any hints still, because this might sound like it's fishing. But have you found that coming from different cultural backgrounds, you had to do some intentional alignments?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
At the start, it was rough.
Okay.
Nicole's English is not as good as it is now when
Yeah.
we first met.
Yeah.
It was still very good.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of like cultural things that were different, and
navigated,
there was
yeah.
a lot of fights over almost nothing that were just misunderstandings. But
Mhm.
neither one of us knew were misunderstandings.
Mhm.
So yeah, the start was a little bit rough.
And how did you like make it through that rough season?
I don't know, just talk,
Okay.
figure out what the problem is. And,
Yeah. Just simple communication. Like
Yeah.
everyone knows communication is so simple. Of course you do.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem is that most people don't communicate.
Don't
right?
communicate,
And
exactly.
they'll just get upset about something, and if you explain why you're upset, and
Yeah.
most of the time I find that it's not intentional or anything, and it's just a misunderstanding in one form or another.
Yeah, and then I guess being open to the possibility of being wrong in the situation. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why are you laughing?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, I'm ready for my second guess.
Oh, great. Tell me.
Portugal.
It's very close,
Very close.
but
Okay,
still
I'm getting
the wrong
closer.
continent.
Okay, still the wrong continent.
Yes.
I'm ready for my third guess then.
Yeah, you'll get it.
Brazil.
Yes. Congratulations.
I think you're the only person that's ever guessed it correctly that isn't Brazilian.
Oh.
I often get a lot of Spanish-speaking countries.
Yes.
And I get a lot of Quebec.
Oh.
Yeah, a lot of people think she's
Yeah.
from Quebec.
There was something in there that was like, no, there's a little bit more breadcrumbs I need to follow along the way here.
Yeah.
And
So,
what do you...
the breadcrumbs, so in the Portuguese accent, there's a certain thickness, an intentional thickness behind some of the sounds that are made at the very back here, like your L's and hard to describe. If I had access to my minimal linguistic abilities, I'd be able to tell you, here's what's going on back here and here. So there's just a certain thickness that is unique in my experience with Portuguese speaking language, and when it translates in English, there's still it still gets retained. It's heavy and intentional is the best way I can describe it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So thank you for indulging me.
Very good at it.
I
I'm impressed.
appreciate it. Thank you.
I don't think anyone's ever gotten it.
No,
That
no
wasn't
one's ever gotten it. Yes.
It was just tickling my fancy earlier. I'm like, let me just hold off on this one here for a few moments.
And it's kind of funny because like
Yeah.
if you're looking at Nicole, I think it makes it harder
Yeah.
because like your whole family is from Italy and like Lebanon and Turkey and stuff. So the look doesn't really match the
Yeah.
culture and the history
Gotcha.
behind it.
Gotcha.
And it's funny because wherever we go,
Yeah.
people always think that Nicole is a local. It doesn't matter where we go. People just walk up to her and speak whatever language they speak.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that. Meanwhile, you're just standing by saying, I'm not mincemeat here. Yeah, here you know. That's awesome. Well, aside from looks, which is what Tinder usually goes off of,
Yeah.
when you connected,
Yeah.
what were the things you guys found most compelling in each other that said, yep, we're going to go a little further with this exploration?
Right. So I guess the main reason that I matched with Nicole was looks, and then beside that, in her profile, she wrote that she was an international PhD student.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to know more, like,
Tell
what
me
she
more.
was studying
Yeah.
and stuff. So, yeah. That was it for me.
Okay, a very simple okay.
Yeah.
But hold on, I'm going to press you a little further though,
Sure.
because that's what you read,
Yeah.
and so that's just kind of intel that doesn't speak anything about personality and character.
Oh, I see, like,
yeah.
after we met, sort of thing.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
gotcha.
That's where you're like, okay, now I know what to study, but holy crap, I need to dig more.
Yeah, so when we started chatting, we had a lot in common. Like,
Yeah.
we both have a sense of humor where, like, nothing can go too far. We'll laugh
Okay.
at just about anything. Like, we won't get offended about it.
Amazing.
And we have a lot of music in common.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we had basically anything. Like,
Yeah.
anything where it was, like, a preference towards something, we almost always lean the same way.
Yeah,
So-
and it's always been very easy to talk to you
Yeah.
about anything. So it's just like, it's just comfortable.
I guess
to
we're
be
both
around
just, like,
people.
really open people.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing shared experiences or shared values from you, and then from you, Nicole, I'm hearing you felt a sense of safety
Yeah, it's just, you know,
to
like
express.
acceptance.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
I didn't have to be different or
Yeah,
anything else.
someone
It's
else.
just, like, just,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
It,
very
it
cool.
was, it's weird. Like, it just felt like I've known him for a long time. And,
Yeah.
yeah. Just waiting to be met, I guess.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Because I've heard that sense of feeling that one's comfortable or safe is a big deal, especially for females in their partnerships. Otherwise, they just don't open up and express their real selves. But when you do have that space to be who you truly are,
Yeah.
it goes much better.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, of course. It's a successful Tinder story.
8 years later, yeah, that is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Spencer. And Nicole, you're next up on this one here. But what would you say is your superpower in life? I know you're saying I'm just a computer science geek and I like animals. But if you had a superpower that you really care about, so I'm not talking about your skill set at work per se, but like that you're like, I pride myself on this because I'm really good at it. What would that be?
I don't know. I think I'm pretty good at leaving emotions out of things.
Oh, I see.
And just like making like a very calculated decision.
Okay.
Not the same. You're incredible.
Yeah, I'm a very logical person, so
Gotcha.
that type of thing is pretty easy for me, and
Yeah.
I find that I usually make a good decision if I have the right information.
Gotcha. And so do you find that when emotions get into this zone, you're not able to do what you feel you need to do in making those decisions?
Depends.
Yeah.
I have a tendency to get angry, but I find that even when I'm angry, more often than not,
Yeah.
I can still reason my way through it.
Gotcha.
Maybe not like immediately.
Right, you might need some
Give me
time.
30 seconds,
Yeah.
and then I'm probably all right.
Yeah, articulate what it is.
Yeah.
I think I kind of relate to you in a similar sense. Now, most people who know me well would say, Benjamin, you're like super emotional.
Yeah.
So the way I understand it in my experience is I'm emotional, and you're seeing the emotional exuberance because I have the the logical, analytical side firmly in place. And those for me are like my boundaries. So like having figured out where my playing zone is for my emotions to play.
Yeah.
I have like on the sides like these really carefully laid out values and ideologies that I'm like, okay, here's my safe zones right here. And if I go over these zones, then I'm in danger. So within this space in the middle here, I feel really safe to now be the goofy, playful, all the things in this space here because I know where my boundaries are. And so that's kind of how I envision or figuratively speaking, assess how I'm able to, extend myself. What's on offline, basically, right? And so when someone comes up to press me on those firm zones, I'm like, here's why this makes sense. And it really enables me in the moments to be able to draw on and say, here's how my world makes sense, analytically, I guess.
That makes
But
sense.
yeah, intriguing. How about you, darling?
What is it? I don't know.
Again, this one takes you away from what you do for work to something that you actually like. It might include what you do for work, but I'll be kind of digging a little bit more, if possible, to hear like how it deeply connects with you. You're like, yeah, this is my zone.
I want to say, I don't know if this is a superpower, but I'm incredibly resilient.
Yes,
So, right?
it's what it is.
Is that what you're
Love
about
it.
to say?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Love it.
exactly. Yeah,
Love
a lot of people ask me, like, a lot of people say, wow, you did your PhD in
Yeah.
science, you must be super smart.
Yeah.
Distance.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like that was
It wasn't a walk through the park.
failing a lot and
Yeah.
rebuilding. Yeah, I think this is it. Like, there's nothing that I will exhaust all of my options before I fully give up. Like,
Yeah.
I just, yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll grind it till there's nothing left.
Yeah.
And you never give up.
Yeah. Resilience is definitely it, I think.
Where do you think you got your resilience from, or who inspired you towards this commitment to resilience?
I'm not sure. I think that, throughout growing up, we weren't like super wealthy at all, actually, growing up. And I think that speaks to that. And then, once I got into science, as you spoke, really, as you said, we go a lot to conferences.
Yep.
So I've been to a lot of countries. I lived in Portugal. I lived in Spain.
Yeah.
I lived in Japan as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And you always find difficulties, but I think that like the more you encounter those difficulties and you go through them and you're
Yeah.
successful,
Yeah.
the more you build this resilience. And I think this is where I got it from, I guess.
Very cool.
Right. And also, of course, like science is a resilience builder. My experiments would fail 70-80% of the times, and I would go back there the next day and try again a different way until I got it. So,
if I could figure this out, holy crap, that would just give you that sense of like, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, so
Tell me.
yeah, that's funny you asked because
Yes.
I never really had that.
Yeah.
I always just wanted to know more,
Yeah,
generally
yeah,
speaking, really.
yeah.
And my dream was to be a neuroscientist.
Yeah.
So when I finished my PhD, it was like, oh, I got it.
Yeah.
And now what?
Right, yeah, like it's
Yes.
solid, right, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was what I wanted to know more about the brain. I wanted to be able to, I wanted to be capable of doing, my research and experiments to add another piece to this huge puzzle that is the neuroscience. And yeah, I accomplished that.
Very
Now
cool.
on to the next goal, which I still don't know what it is.
I see, you're exploring that part now.
Yes.
I really appreciate that sense in life when we get to experience it of ongoing curiosity and saying, there's such a huge world, and in the specific areas where we, I don't know, like just really relish and like, I want to know a little bit more. And then in the context of knowing more, it seems we get a familiarity that says, here's the lay of the land, here's the unanswered questions still, that can still prod and say, there's more here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, and being able to be the first person in the whole world to find something out is just, it's a crazy feeling.
So my current investment, sociologically, is exploring the theme or the idea of what integrity is as a characteristic. And it's one that is of keen interest to me because for many years as a young man, I think I'd had a desire to try to, live a good life. But I just lacked a lot of, I lacked modeling of what it could look like. And I just experienced a lot more face plants than I would like to experience, to be certain. So now, like, thinking about this theme, which I've had to think about, and I spent the last 3 years or so just kind of mulling over where I've been in life and what has really got me here. It's like what came up was this experience that I now feel I have. I didn't even know it was integrity, but it was just like working towards and understanding and experiencing it. And so now my investment is to explore this idea of what integrity is societally, and how to make that conversation even more accessible by way of people's understanding of it, especially young men. And so like this is like that area of curiosity that I'm diving into and saying, how can I continue to hear different angles or different vantage points that others have had to even expand that conversation. So in some sense I feel like a scientist saying I would like to bring more familiarity to this zone here that isn't often focused on or having attention,
I love this.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, always keeping, I don't know, I like that kind of thing. I always feel thinking about life and what we do and how we do things, right? Like always breaking the pattern and reevaluating. I think this is fantastic.
And I think one of those things that's really cool is when within one's discourse community, they're able to make it accessible to. So for example, in your community, I would say you have access to a language that most of us don't have access to. You're able to go into these conferences or these rooms where others understand the technical side and the jargon to like describe what's going on in neuroscience. But then the ability then to like go a little further and say, how can we now explain this to the ordinary layman so they can also be part of this conversation and make it more accessible, so they have an interest as well too, and they have a reason to say, oh, now I want to follow along this story and see how it evolves along the way, right? That's a really cool thing too that I appreciate in that space of curiosity.
Yeah, no, this conversation has been very interesting.
Yeah, definitely didn't expect this.
Yes.
You might be surprised to know, but I choreographed it even before I arrived at your location.
Really?
No. Can you imagine?
What surprised me though, you're very good at like continuing on a conversation and like
Yeah.
continually asking questions and building up things.
100%. Yeah.
For me, it's like expressing curiosity. But here's the thing: I also think in my observation, Spencer, I feel after like getting to one live in this culture for decades now, but also just understanding human nature at a very baseline too. I think there is a sense for most of us that we want to be understood.
Yep.
We want to be acknowledged. We want to be explored in ways where, like, one of the things I love is watching someone discover things about themselves. You know, as they're like the questions I ask aren't your yes no typical questions. They're like deep dive kind of questions,
Yeah.
which is a risky thing to ask socially. And so the amount of calculated risks I take every day,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't seem like that much of a pressure for me because I've done this for years and I've learned how to work at this art form. I think it's an art form, you know, to be able to
Yeah, it is.
tactfully walk into spaces that are quite vulnerable, right? In a short span of time. What has to happen before that is how can I connect with this individual? Like you were saying, for example, Nicole, you felt safe to be able to open up and say, let me give you access to where most people don't have access. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a sacred ground right there. And so to do that with people in this space, it's kind of been an ongoing confirmation, one of the skill that I have, but two, just the zone that I get to spend time in. You know, when I hear people saying, it's been so long since I've had a rich conversation, and here I get to enjoy like the lion's share every day of ongoing, like this is my level kind of thing. I don't play in the shallow pool with small talk, for example, right?
Right.
So I feel really blessed that way to have not only the ability but also that space to enjoy this and curate it. It's one I think also where in my observation there is a certain responsibility I think the facilitator needs to be aware of in what they can handle. So when inviting someone into a space to explore and converse, the real question is, am I able to hold space for whatever comes unexpected, right? Or am I leading someone into a space I can't support them in and see them like do a face plant in a really unhelpful and harmful way, right? Because of things I'm open to talking about. So how can I learn those boundaries in this space as well too? So it's a really, I can't help but think of that word sacred and just the weight of it, right? It's I'm asking for some big things, but in so doing, some beautiful rewards. Like far better than when he first got in the vehicle. I would never have guessed all things, but together we made some experiences along the way, and there was some ways that we expressed a beautiful word that I really appreciate, which is intimacy. And one of the ways I heard the word intimacy being described once was intimacy is intimate. And just that ability to be able to ask someone and say, I want to know something more about you, but you don't know what my intentions are unless you are able to intuit them. And people don't usually give their sacred parts away until they know that it's safe.
Right.
But in so doing, building something that actually, when you reflect on it in memory, you're not having like a vulnerability hangover moment where you're like, oh, I wish I hadn't shared that. I'm not sure. It was more of a, man, it was beautiful to have that space where I was able to experience and ask and engage in that. It's a really, really cool thing, you know. So I'm really grateful.
Yeah, it was really cool. I really didn't expect this experience. So I'm glad that it happened.
Yeah.
Thank you for being with me, Alex.
I have one last question.
I would love to hear it, darling. Please.
What came first, Uber or the streaming?
Oh, great question. The streaming is actually very new. Streaming is only 2 weeks old.
Oh, okay.
But what I should be telling you is before streaming, I've been creating videos in this setting
Okay.
for years already.
Okay.
So I have quite a library of like my experiences with my riders. Streaming is something I've been working at for the last year in conception. And so part of the thing that I really value when I do this is how do I model for my followers online in general what consent looks like when I share someone's story. And so usually when I was doing this, I'd have my security cameras going for sure.
Yeah.
But only at the end of the ride, after I enjoyed all the time with them, would I be reflecting and saying, so let me just remember what's been shared here. And I'd say 80% of the time, I would never ask for permission because the nature of our conversation was so intimate. And so, like, you know, they just share things that were very specific to their setting, and I was like, yeah, the world has no business knowing anything about this, right?
Right.
But when I thought it was appropriate, then I'd say, hey, by the way, I have this channel online that I love featuring these kind of stories for this reason. Here's my intention. Here's the background. I'd love if you're open to having me share our time together. And then I would follow it up really quickly with an encouragement and a celebration of a no answer, just because, again, culturally in this setting, people don't know how to say no.
Right.
They feel bad.
I would agree.
You know, and so just saying, by the way, I also want you to have access to a no, because that is also a really important answer, and I don't want to put you in a setting where you're going to be, you know, kind of like compromised in essence. So that's what I used to do before. But then as I was curating that kind of content, which is beautiful and inspired and encouraging so many people, I started noticing as well that they're only getting the one side. It's all these unique stories and the yes answers. But I said to myself, but they don't really see the whole evolution of this space and energy and so on, and even what a no looks like. For example, when I get a no, and the way I celebrate a no too, and the way I want people to have access in hearing others practicing saying their no. So I thought it would be neat to do a live stream setting, but how do I ensure the privacy of my riders? Like, you guys are not on the camera, it's just me on the camera, for example. So I let you know at the very outset, hey, by the way, we got live stream going on, and if there's an issue, I'm happy to, like, my followers know online that you're my priority. I haven't interacted with them at all.
Right.
They're like flies on the wall. And then after the ride, I sit down with them and just kind of go through the comments a little bit and interact with them and relate on, you know, the experience we shared together, you know, in this setting. So I'm trying to really crack that that aspect of how do I ensure the privacy of my riders so that they're not compromised this way. And so this is a fairly new venture for me, Nicole. Great question, and one that has been really astounding in the sense that I don't know, it's just created a lot more content, but also a lot more moments that I never would have even bothered asking. But here's people who are like with awareness, kind of, you know, in that moment sharing and so on, and the impact is it's quite something, honestly. So I'm really grateful for that chance, but one of those things again that I'm still like walking my way through, if you will.
Yeah, wow, that was awesome.
Thank
you
you.
for the experience.
You're so welcome.
And what is your channel?
May I give you my card?
Yes.
It gives you a little bit more where you can check. I got a card in here. There. Just a little bit more, and you are so
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
Nice to meet you both.
Nice to meet you too.
And I'll help you grab your bags here, okay?
For sure.
Okay.
Perfect.
I'm no rush, so take your time. Why couldn't you have left like two weeks ago?
That's all right. No, I'm okay to escape from here.
Hi friends, good to see you all. That was a really sweet time with them. Wonderful couple, right? So Anderson, my friend, happy Thursday to you. I see you there. Another satisfied customer asking for your card. Yes. What time is it there? Anderson, currently here it is. Oh, let me just see here. I'll get back to them in a few moments. I'm just checking up on my messages here. Right now it is 7:11 here. 7:11 is the time now, and in the morning, that is. And I'm just seeing when my next appointment is for a ride. It's in about 15 minutes. That's all right. Okay, I'll work my way down there. Yeah, so 7 in the morning. Ira says, hey Benim, how are you? I was a rider of yours a few weeks ago and I'm hoping we can meet again. Amazing, Ira. It's rare when I get to see someone who's actually been in my vehicle on the live stream. So welcome, Ira. 7:11 a.m. You 7:12 now, but yes, it was 7:11. You are certainly an early riser. Fabulous. Thank you. Yeah, the idea is if I can start early, I can hopefully finish my work early. So the bow tie is everything, says Dog Gran. Ninja, hello, good to see you. Hi Claire. Era says, Biniam. Glad you guys are on the live stream. Oh my god, what a small world. Era, that's amazing, says Anderson. Yeah, that is, that's really cool. Thank you for being on the live stream too, Era. That is, you're probably the first one that I've met on the live stream who's been in my Uber fairly recently. Funny story, Era. I went to pick up these 4 riders recently. This was a couple of nights ago. And as I went to pick them up, you know, we were driving along and I was having a conversation with them. And then finally they were like, you don't remember us, do you? I'm like, no, tell me more. And they're like, we were in your car like recently, you know? And it was just like 2 nights before. And I totally hadn't recognized them, which is so funny. So that was really cool. Turn off the lights here. I'd actually recognize you from videos as well. No way, Era. That's crazy. So, like, you recognize me when you came in my Uber from the videos you watched? Because that's really crazy and awesome. It feels like nighttime looking at your surroundings. Yes, it is still dark. Let me just show you a picture of the road I'm navigating here. And as you can see, it's still dark here at 7 in the morning. But let me show you something here. I'm going to just turn around this way here so you can see a picture of the horizon where the sun is rising. And as I turn here, can you see now how the sun is like rising over in the east here? That's like so beautiful actually, isn't it? I love it. It's so good. Yeah, so it's definitely turning light out now. This is the airstrips just over the fence there that you're seeing. I'm not sticking around the airport because at this time there aren't really any trips coming in. Thanks for showing us. You're welcome. It's great that I have this option. So friends, I just want to give you a quick update here. I got a message last night. I want to keep up to date with you guys on this. I got a message last night from Uber support. And I followed up with a conversation this morning, and I'll tell you all about that in just a moment here. So basically, let me just catch up with the comments here though. Going to be a great day for you. I can feel it, and it will be full of laughs and love and energy. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you. And to top it off, a very productive day. Yes, indeed. Yeah, yesterday was a bit of a slower day, unusually. Let me just give you a quick update here, but before I do, I'm about to go into a tunnel underneath the airstrip, and if I go underneath this airstrip here, then I might lose reception for just a moment. So before I give you the update, let me just navigate through the underground tunnel first, and then I'll get back to this one here. I'm just about to enter the tunnel. Let me show you the tunnel though, so you can see what it looks like. Okay, again it says, yeah, so here's the tunnel. It's like a really long tunnel. And above us, like airplanes are landing and taking off, which is crazy, right? Yeah, it's quite a long tunnel. It took a long time for them to finish building this tunnel, but all right, I'm out now. And Anderson, that's totally all right. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing comments you guys were putting in here while I was going along. And I'm giving you a picture of our sunrise coming up here as I come over the crest. There it is, kind of like over there. Anyway, back to me now. Back to me, because it's all about me. So just a quick update for y'all, and that is this. I got a message on my app last night from Uber support, and they've mentioned that someone had expressed concern about my live streaming in the vehicle. I'm guessing someone had maybe called it in because they didn't feel comfortable maybe telling me, even though I usually tell them at the outset saying, hey, by the way, the stream, and if they express that they're not comfortable with it, then we usually shut that down. That's my MO. But yeah, I'm guessing maybe they just didn't feel comfortable expressing that to me, but they definitely called it in. And so Uber support had sent me a message saying, hey, just so you know, according to our community guidelines, we did that, live streaming or posting to social media is not permitted. So I knew that about the community guidelines, and I'd read that already in the community guidelines. So what I'd done was I'd gone ahead, before I started driving, this is a few months ago, I called my contacts at Uber and said, hey, just so you know, I'm looking forward to coming back and driving with Uber again, can't wait. And by the way, I noticed this segment on the community guidelines that says we're not allowed to do this anymore, and I just wanted you to know I have a desire and an intention to do this, and I wanted you to know because I think you guys know the kind of videos I do and the kind of way that I represent the Uber brand. And so so I just wanted you to know so that we could talk about any specific thing that I could do differently to make this happen, per se. And so they said, yeah, we'll get back to you. And I called, I think, about 3 different times, and they never really gotten back to me. So what I interpreted from that was that they couldn't really say anything legally until they see kind of like what I'm going to do. And based on that, just kind of give it a rubber stamp if it's favorable for the company, or shut it down if it's not. And I like to think the way I'm doing this is one that's very intentional in the way that I'm representing the company well. And also protecting the privacy, for example, of my passengers in the midst of a live stream. And so, yeah, all that to say, when I got that message from Uber support, I was like, oh man, like we've already, I've tried to deal with this. So I called Uber support this morning, and I think they are very specific, or they're very limited in the thing that they can say in response to drivers. So I don't think they really understood, nor do I have confidence that they have the ability to escalate or send me on to the right people. So I guess what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep on making videos for sure in the meantime. But as I do so, I'm also going to spend some time today reaching out, and I'm going to call again my contacts at Uber, at Uber Corporate, and say, hey, who can I talk to get this, okayed, so that I can keep on doing this? Because I think there's some beautiful things that I'm able to do here, not only for the brand of Uber, but also just in general for the good in society, I think, right? So that's what my plans are, and I just want you guys to have a heads up that that's what's happening and how I'm engaging or going forward with this. Why didn't they let you know? A bit silly to the customer. Anderson, in this realm, I would say it's a courageous thing for someone to express a no, and a lot of people have never practiced or have never shown how they can say no, and so they may not feel comfortable, or they may not even feel safe saying no, maybe because of bad experiences of having done so and just being hurt in the past. So I can understand why someone may not have said anything, and instead just felt the best recourse was to do a private complaint, perhaps. So I can see that happening, and that makes sense. So that's how I would make sense of that. So are you still allowed to do a live stream? Sorry, the mic was cutting out there. That's okay. To clarify, I'm going to keep on creating live streams for the meantime. And in the meantime, while I do so, I'm also going to actively re-engage and call Uber and say, hey, here's what I've been doing, and here's what I want to do, and here's what I've already done so far. And I'd love to have you guys go and look it over and see if it's something that does your brand well or not, because I think it does. And in so doing, I'd love for you guys to also go ahead and give me the approval that I'm requesting to do all this, right? So when it comes to your live streams, it says era and videos, what drives you to make them? Oh, that's a great question. And would you still make them if no one could see them? Whoa, those are great questions, Era. Thank you for asking them. So yes, great questions. Anderson says, still at work, I have to go, but we'll definitely tune in again when I get home. Thanks, brother. Good to see you on here. Thanks for chiming in. Era, to answer your question, what drives me to make these is because I have so many amazing experiences with people that I get to meet in the context of this work. And for me, it seems like a crime to only keep these for myself. What I'm driven to do is I'd rather share these experiences with other people, in hopes that they also might experience something, not only from watching my videos and maybe being inspired or encouraged, but maybe even to model for them what this could look like when you connect with other fellow human beings, because many of us have forgotten how to do this, right? And so I feel this is like my skill set. I'd like to make this accessible so that you guys, one, can be inspired, encouraged, and maybe even challenged to go and connect with others in ways that you find helpful after seeing how I do it with my riders. Secondly, would I do this even if no one was watching? Hell yes, yes. I feel so strongly in my message and what I'm carrying and what I want to showcase and share with the world that even if no one were watching it, I would still feel like I'm leaving a resource maybe at some point in the future someone might benefit from. So even if no one was ever watching, I wouldn't feel discouraged. For example, here we have only at the moment 2 to 5 to 10, you know, it fluctuates at the moment. The first week I was doing this era, there was no one, right? And I mean, it's just a matter of time before people find their people, right? And so, yeah, I could do this for a long time if it is just me and the camera and there's no one, there's no views. Yeah, I'll keep on doing it just because it's my way of leaving something behind that I find valuable. And I like leaving things of value behind, especially things that I feel strongly about, right? The things that I'm like, yeah, this is worth my while, and so hell's yes to doing this for sure. Those are great questions, and I really appreciated them, so thank you. Yeah. Anyway, so far have I shared about where I'm at, and I appreciate being able to do so with you guys, so you're in the loop, and so you're seeing how I'm wrestling through and trying to work through getting to the destination of what I want to do. I've got some big goals that I want to accomplish. It may not work out, it may work out, but to the best I can, I want to stick my oar deep into the water and row towards those goals and ambitions that I have set for myself. Thanks for listening in on this episode. I will catch you guys on the next one, which will be in approximately half an hour. So hope to see you back here in a little bit. I'm just on my way to my next stop. Bye for now. Oh, what are some of those bigger goals? Oh golly, Aaron, you caught me just as I was about to sign off. Let me answer that because I'm happy to do so. One, my biggest goal that I want to accomplish is I want to inspire hundreds of thousands plural of young men to live a life with integrity. And I want to model what that looks like. I want to have conversations around what integrity is and how young men can experience and want to live it. That's like my big goal. Secondly, I want to be able to acquire my dream car. My dream car is the Rolls-Royce Phantom. And in so doing, I want to be able to drive that Rolls-Royce Phantom only on the Uber X level of Uber, which is the very baseline that most people can get an Uber. I don't want to use this luxurious vehicle for anything else but just the baseline of Uber X. And I want to drive for Uber that way, picking people up. And as they are shocked by this most expensive car coming up to pick them up, and as they're like just in disbelief that they're getting picked up in this car, because usually most people would be like so in awe that they got to even sit in the Rolls Royce, right? As they're going through these experiences, my real goal is to showcase if a human interaction can be far more indelible, can be far more impacting than just human to stuff, you know? So that's the goal I want to showcase with that. That's another significant goal. And of course, another one that I'd love to have is to be able to drive an Uber anywhere in the world and keep on making these videos, showcasing so many different peoples and countries and nations and traditions, and just showing how at the very core, it is amazing to be in this human experience. And so those are some of the goals that are driving me at present. That's a great question. You ask great questions, by the way, Aaron. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. It's a beautiful sunrise right now. Oh, I don't think I can. Let's see if I can show you. If I were to angle it this way, kind of there, right? You can kind of see it. That doesn't work so well. Anyway, it's a glorious sunrise. Clear skies. No more fog today, which is great. It looks like it's going to be a great day. All right. I will see you on the next live stream. In the meantime, thank you for being here and sharing time with me. Time is just one of those most beautiful things that we have to share because we can't get it back. And when you're here, I so appreciate it. Yeah, Ira says, Awesome, Biniam. I'll be going to be here soon, but I'll be sure to come by. Awesome. Thank you. Bed. Oh, you're gonna go to bed soon, but you'll be back. Awesome. Thanks, Ira. Thanks for being on here, and I appreciate your the space you're taking up here. Okay, bye, guys.